Today's subject, New South fucking Wales. Well, if it isn't the rooster who's come crawling back to his post. Yeah, I know, I'm a little late to the party, it's been a couple weeks, but I still want to get on the action. Now, I've been extremely vocal of how much skepticism I place on New South Wales in Origin, and after game one of this series, I really did think we were going to see a repeat of Queensland dominance, much like we'd seen in the last decade or so. Hell, I even thought Queensland were going to wash us out 3-0. And I'm not diminishing my state in any way or showing lack of faith because I have relentlessly backed New South Wales in any past situation only to be smacked in the face with bitter disappointment. But even the most optimistic fans could agree that going to Brisbane's equivalent of Anfield for a decider is no easy task. Let's start by going back to game one. Hot off the back of a dominant series win, Queensland were aiming to make it 3 in a row, the first time any state has done the treble since 2017. Both Queensland and New South Wales had to make some changes ahead of game one. Injuries to Tina Vasul-Malawi, Thomas Flegler and Jai Arrow forced a reshuffle of Queensland's backline. But the one injury that really affected the core of the team was Cameron Munster, who tore his groin and would miss the entirety of the 2024 series. Munster is the type of Origin player you need in your squad. He just seems to thrive in these games, so this of course was a devastating blow. Queensland didn't have too much to worry about as Tom Dearden was shown to be a capable replacement, playing a huge role in the 2022 decider at Suncorp. Jermaine Hopgood was also the only debutant named in the 17-man squad, with Ezra Mam, Felice Kafusi and Brendan Piakura being named as replacements. Positioning conundrums were also quite prevalent when it came to selection for Billy, as Selwyn Cobbo was outstanding on the wing for Queensland last year, but this time lost out to an informed Xavier Coates. Here's the situation. You have a potential backline consisting of Walsh, Holmes, Coates, Cobbo, Tabuai Fido and Murray Talangi. Someone's going to have to miss out. Not in the opinion of Slater, as he opted not to go for another forward on the bench, but to throw Cobbo in at 17. I don't know, man. David Fifita was in form and had a great 2023 series, but okay, Cobbo it is. New South Wales, under the new management of Mike Maguire, brought 6 new players into the fray. Dylan Edwards, Zach Lomax, Joseph Suali'i, Spencer Leniu, Hamuli Olakawatu, and Cameron McGuinness. Every single one deserved, as they had all been outstanding this season. Angus Crichton was making his return to Origin after his recent hiatus and was back to his best scoring tries for the Roosters. A new captain in Jake Trbojevic was also named, with James Tedesco missing out in favour for Dylan Edwards. Jake was playing in his 8th series and notched up an impressive 17 appearances. A lovable character and great with the playing group, Michael Maguire was confident in his leadership role shuffle. But much like Queensland, New South Wales also had some half selection headaches. Nathan Cleary. Arguably the best player in the world, Cleary had torn his hamstring just a couple weeks out from game one, and like Munster would miss the entirety of the series. What the fuck is it with NRL players and glass hamstrings? With second choice Mitchell Moses also injured, it came down to Nico Hines, Chad Townsend or Luke Brooks. You'll get your chance one day, champ. Nico got the nod on the day as he'd experienced in last year's series, albeit very limited, and looked to shake the theoretical monkeys off his back. Finally, James Tedesco was brought back into the squad after Dylan Edwards sustained a quad injury just a few days out from game one. Fresh off a game 3 win last year at Accor, they were looking to replicate the dominance in front of a loud and proud home crowd. Immediately though, Queensland once again showed how efficient they are in any attacking position as they exploited the lack of urgency in New South Wales defence to score the opening try of the game through Ben Hunt. Okay, Luai, you could have really positioned yourself better defensively there. Nico Hines early on looked completely out of his depth, as his kicking game just wasn't up to standard. The game-defining moment, however, happened in the 8th minute, when Joey Suali'i almost took the head off Reece Walsh. I don't know, man, that's play on. He was rightfully sent off and the tempo of the game completely changed. New South Wales let in 2 simple tries and went into halftime 20-6 down. Now, okay, I get it. You're a man down and defensively there's going to be some gaps, but come on, a fucking 4-on-1? Really? New South Wales showed a lot of fight early in the second half, with desperate defence being key to keeping the game alive. Lomax bagged himself a try 4 minutes into the second half, and for a fleeting moment, there was a chance New South Wales could do the impossible. That all ended when Ben Hunt ran through some flimsy defence, and after that, the result was beyond doubt. New South Wales had given up, and Queensland ran in 3 more tries, with Hamiso Tabuai Fido completing his hat-trick, the first for Queensland since Holmes in Game 3 of 2017. The result was inevitable, as I don't think I've ever seen a team win a game with 12 men on the pitch for 70 minutes. Cameron McInnes and Hudson Young were especially poor in my eyes, as they look rattled from the get-go. I love Hudson Young. Fantastic. But he's such an attack-minded player, and when he's not given a chance to play that way, he just seems to regress. Look, he doesn't suit me as a representative player, but I do respect the effort he puts in at club level. It finished 38-10 to Queensland, and it was the biggest margin ever won by Queensland in New South Wales. Player of the match was Daly Cherry Evans as he once again turned the tide with his exceptional kicking game and overall positioning. Man, that fucking intercept and kick to Coates was ridiculous. Michael Maguire and his Blues team had spawned intense scrutiny after failing to win at home in Game 1, and with this, ushered in a couple new changes in the hopes of saving the series. Connor Watson was chosen to replace a disappointing Cam McGuinness, and Dylan Edwards had recovered from an injury to take Teddy's place at fullback. Mitchell Moses was tasked with replacing underwhelming Nico Hines at halfback, and Cameron Murray recovered from an injury to start at lock. The biggest inclusion of them all, however, was Latrell Mitchell. Latrell had garnered heavy criticism for performances for South Sydney early in the season, sitting at a 1-10 record with Souths and disciplinary issues contributing to the wide disapproval of him by fans and pundits. It was time for him to take ascendancy and shake off all the negative outside influences. Selected to play at centre in Game 2 at the MCG, Latrell provided excellent support as both an offensive and defensive player. Looking like a man possessed and playing with intent, he was instrumental in the Blues running to a 34-0 lead at half-time. Look, I know Latrell gets a lot of hate for being lazy sometimes, but holy fuck, this man knows how to stand up in big games. New South Wales knew that they needed to blitz Queensland from the get-go, and that is exactly what they did, rarely making an error in going forward and forcing handling errors from a sloppy Queensland attack. Queensland did manage to get one back, but debutant and future immortal Dylan Edwards scored to put any hopes of a Queensland comeback to bed. The game ended 38-10, and we were once again off to another decider in Brisbane. Now, there's always a distinct level of professionalism when it comes to relationships with coaches. They seem to always share a consistent level of mutual respect and admiration. But boy oh boy, this year was getting feisty. After Game 1, Michael Maguire was questioned by the media and rival coach Billy Slater about the treatment of Reece Walsh in Game 1. Any suggestions that he had been deliberately targeted and hurt were shut down by Madge, as he argued that while there was no deliberate intention to hurt him, who's to say that Queensland didn't have the same intentions with New South Wales players? This culminated in the infamous glass houses sledge. You can't help but think Madge made this comment in regards to Slater's subtle on-field indiscretions throughout his career. You gotta love this guy, honestly. He's like that old uncle at a barbecue who's just there to create tension between both sides of the family. After the Blues had comfortably dispatched Queensland in Game 2, you could sense there was a touch of uneasiness in the Queensland camp. Rumours of tension between the coach and the players were running wild as Queensland coaches and experts tried desperately to quash these.
What's your fucking problem?
The final Game 3 team lists were announced, and what the fuck did Fafita do to you, Billy?
No!
David Fafita.
No!
David Fafita.
Kalen Ponga was immediately rushed into the squad, having only just returned from injury, and Dane Gagai was brought back in to fill a hole in the backline left by an unavailable Coates. Once again, Queensland opted not to go for a big bopper to fill out the rest of the bench, but another utility along with Harry Grant. That's a New South Wales move right there. Speaking of New South Wales, they pretty much stuck with the same 17 that took the field at the MCG, with only Sir Donald Bradman and Mitch Barnett coming in to replace an injured Latrell and dropped Olakawatu. Now, going into a decider at Suncorp, it's really important to look back at the history of deciders at Suncorp. 2022, Queensland won 22-12. 2020, Queensland somehow won 20-14. 2017, Queensland won 22-6. 2015, Queensland didn't just win, but embarrassed an entire state, winning 52-6. 2012, Queensland won 21-20. 2011, Queensland won 34-24. 2005, New South Wales actually won 32-10, this being the last time the Blues had won a decider at Suncorp. History wasn't just against New South Wales, but toying with them, luring them into a false sense of security and hope.
I think that you probably won't say it again.
I bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
But things were going to go a little differently this time. The game started with New South Wales receiving the ball from kickoff, like every Origin decider. It's like Queensland's go-to tactic. But Payne Haas took that ball and exploded through that rigid Queensland defence, sending a message that things would be different this time. Then we dropped the ball in the first set of the match. But not to worry, we were actually the better team tonight. Some of the New South Wales players looked possessed out there, hell-bent on changing the tides of history. It was brutal, tough, electric, and boy was it Origin. Big scraps ensued, bigger hits followed, and chances grew larger and larger for both teams. Well, mostly for New South Wales, but Queensland's defence was holding strong. Stephen Crichton finally got over the line midway through the first half. However, replays showed he dropped the ball short of the line. Queensland were awarded a penalty on the stroke of half-time, and Val Holmes took the penalty goal option to put Queensland up 2-0. In the second half, New South Wales once again took ascendancy, pinning the Queenslanders on their own line. Every time Queensland tried to make meters, They either gave away a stupid error or just couldn't muscle up against the tough New South Wales defence. You know, there is someone that could have used for this. The one moment in the game Queensland looked to finally take advantage of and pin New South Wales on their backs was when Reece Walsh made a break down the sideline. But Mitchell Moses was having none of that and cut down the Queensland fullback before Zach Lomax used his mammoth-sized brain to pick him up and drag him over the sideline. A 10 trillion IQ move. Queensland then gave away a penalty of their own, and Lomax had a chance to equalise from the sideline. And, while still being in his Einstein-like intellectual state, absolutely drilled it to make it all square. After that, Reece Robson gave away a penalty right in front with 20 minutes left, and Queensland once again opted for the penalty goal. You seriously felt like it was going to be one of those nights where Queensland just repel wave after wave of New South Wales attack, but just get the job done by the end of the 80 minutes. However, with 17 minutes left to play, Jerome Luai said, "I'll be having absolutely none of that," and burned Dane Gagai with a nasty dummy. Bradman, simply the best, then popped up out of absolutely nowhere in support, and I'm telling you, in any other match, in any other year of Origin, he drops that and Queensland score next set. But not this fucking time. He juggles that ball while simultaneously fending off Knights teammate Dane Gagai and beating other Knights teammate Kalen Ponga to slam the ball down and put New South Wales in front. Pure ecstasy. Although the moment was incredible, New South Wales still had a job to do, and with that defensive mindset adopted from Freddie, New South Wales were ready to sit back and soak up that Queensland pressure.
Play to Watson. Moses straightens up the left. Moses has scored for New South Wales.
Oh. You know, I actually forgot we hired a
competent coach this year.
Moses part of the Red Sea fittingly, and New South Wales had done it. A series deciding win at Suncorp. It seriously does not get much better than that for New South Wales. Angus Crichton was rightfully named player of the series and might just possibly have the greatest NRL comeback story of all time. Video will be done on that later. So yes, it's been 2 weeks of non-stop partying for me and probably most of New South Wales. The next thing I want to focus on is the vodcast I'm working on called Beauty in the Brutality. It's going to be a lot of fun and I'm hoping you all enjoy it. Until then, this is Lux. Stay frosty, stay golden, stay good.